Is breakfast really the most important meal of the day? I'm never really hungry until noon, so it's necessary to have breakfast. And is it necessary to have breakfast and still see good fat loss results? Okay. And that's a bit of a loaded question. Okay. As you can see, guys, there's not always these clear rules that you want to hear. It's not always super clear. Okay. So let's just kind of break that down. Is breakfast the most important meal of the day? That's kind of an old marketing term. If you're following intermittent fasting, then it doesn't matter because you're not eating till noon, okay? But the moment you start saying, well, I'm not hungry and I don't feel like eating and this and that, that ultimately is not necessarily a great place to be making decisions based on how you feel, okay? So let's see here. If you are counting macros or counting calories, okay, in theory, it doesn't really matter when you eat your calories or your macros as long as you're fitting it within the day. Okay. So do you need to eat at 8 o'clock in the morning or within 1 hour of waking? No, you don't need to, as long as you're doing your food throughout the day. Okay. Most people, that doesn't work for. Most people wake up in the morning and they're really hungry, so you've got to eat. Okay, so if you are sticking strong to your calories or your macros and you're doing it later in the day, you're doing it at noon, then you're good. You have nothing to worry about. Okay, but the problem that most people start having is when they don't eat first thing in the morning, they tend to get really, really hungry. Okay, this is why it can't be a general rule. This particular person doesn't get hungry until noon, so she might be able to do it, or he might be able to do it. Okay, but if you're the type of person that wakes up and you're hungry, or you wake up and you're hungry an hour or two, you need to eat. Okay, so if you want a general rule to follow that goes, I don't care what kind of meal plan you're on, the general rule is if you are hungry, eat a meal or eat a snack. When you are hungry, it's your body's way of saying that you need nutrients. So you need to listen to your body and eat. A lot of times people misinterpret what hunger means, especially if they just ate. If you just ate and then an hour later you're hungry, you start saying things to yourself like, oh, I'm just fat-minded, or I'm just being fat, you know, I don't need to eat, da 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 da. Okay. If you're hungry, you need to eat a meal or a snack. Okay. The enemy of fat loss is hunger. The more you are hungry, the more your willpower starts to drop and drop and drop and drop. Okay. So that's why a lot of times eating multiple times in a day, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, is very beneficial for people because they never allow themselves to get to a point of extreme hunger. And what happens when we get to extreme hunger? We're willing to eat anything in sight. Okay. So a lot of times spacing out your meals and doing them throughout the day is better for people so they don't get hungry for long periods of time. Okay. So I know I went off on that. Definitely, it's not wrong to eat at noon as long as you're sticking and you're eating all your food throughout the day that you need to be eating. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Okay, but if you're just saying, well, I don't feel like it, and you're not sticking to your meal plan, you're not doing any of that, or maybe you're getting really hungry at noon and then you're eating everything in sight, then maybe waiting till noon is not a good idea. Okay.